Okay, the first question concerns the new moon, which is a symbol found on the top of many mosques. You know, what is the religious significance of this? Actually, there is no religious significance. You know, a person might think, having seen it on the top of many mosques, that it is like the equivalent of like the cross. The cross is the symbol of Christianity, the Star of David being the symbol of Judaism, that this hilal, it's called in Arabic hilal, or this new crescent moon shape, is the symbol of Muslims. But in fact, it is not. There is no basis from the teachings of the religion concerning it. I mean, what I mean to say is, if I were to take a cross and break it in front of a Christian, likely he would get very upset. If I were to take a Star of David and stomp on it in front of a Jew, he would likely also get very upset. But if you take a crescent and stomp on it or break it, it means nothing. To a Muslim, it means nothing really. It doesn't have that religious significance. It has become a cultural symbol because of the fact that the Muslim calendar follows the lunar calendar, where the crescent moon is significant in identifying the coming in of Ramadan, the month of fasting, the ending of Ramadan, the time for Hajj. The crescent becomes important in terms of being sighted. It, you know, some 500 or 600 years ago, became a popular symbol used by the Ottomans in their building structures, and it spread over the Muslim world because they were the ones ruling the Muslim world at the time. But it has no, if you go back to the time, early generations of Muslims, the time of Prophet Muhammad, may God peace and blessings be upon him, and the early generations after him, this symbol was not used at all. And so you will find mosques in many parts of the world that don't use it. It's not a part of the structure, and there's no problem with it. Okay, deal with it a little after this. Oh, the other question which our brother here raised, you know, concerning the kissing of the black stone, or this is the that corner of the Kaaba, the structure, which is the first house of worship built, as I mentioned earlier, by Prophet Abraham. Now, the structure as we see it is a rebuilt structure. Muslims are not under the delusion that the exact structure we see is what was built by Prophet Abraham. No, it was built in that approximate shape. It wasn't quite like that. It fell down in time, was rebuilt, and fell back down and rebuilt, caught a fire and was rebuilt. It was rebuilt over the years, over the centuries. However, the only part of it which we consider to be a part of the original structure was the part known now as the black stone in that corner, which is surrounded by a frame, a silver frame. And you see people, it is tradition to start the circumambulation of the structure, the Kaaba, walking around it, by first kissing that stone. And it has no more significance than the Pope kissing the ground before he gets on the airplane, or kissing the ground when he gets off the airplane. You know, it is one of the rights, which is, if one is able to do so, one does so, because the Prophet had taught us to do so as part of the rites of Hajj. It signifies the beginning point for the circumambulation and the ending point at the same time. So you could say similarly to the Pope kissing the ground when he begins his journey and kissing the ground when he ends his journey. You know, thanking God for giving him the strength to take that part in that journey. And Muslims kiss the stone, signifying the beginning and the end, as they were taught by the Prophet. Question, why in Islam you don't consider Prophet Muhammad as your Lord and Savior, like Christians do in the case of Jesus? Well, this is because the teachings of the Quran have been very clear and explicit in explaining that the Prophet Muhammad, may God's peace and blessing be upon him, was only a man, a human being, who had no power to save man, and that in fact even these powers which were attributed to Prophet Jesus, these were false powers. No man has the ability to save another man, to absolve another man of his sins. This power belongs only to God. The other part of the question, why don't you call your religion Mohammedanism? Because Mohammedanism, for one, implies somehow the worship of Muhammad. This, of course, is totally out of the question. And actually, the main reason is because God defined the name of the religion in the Quran. The name of the religion is not something which people agreed upon hundreds or thousands of years after the time of the Prophet, but something which was defined specifically in the Quran itself. You will find in the Quran where God says that the religion with God is Islam, submission to the will of God, the religion of Abraham, the religion of Adam, the religion of all the prophets. So God has defined what and who that religion belongs to, what is that religion, what it entails, what it means, and what is its name.
You made a couple of comments tonight, and I've also read them in some of the religious sections of like Riyadh Daily, the Arab News, and Saudi Gazette, where that certain portions of the Christian Bible is not accepted as being a revelation from God. And I have yet to see anywhere, or even as you talked about tonight, what are the guidelines? You said that, as I've read the Pentateuch and the New Testament,